Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about traditional business ownership. Some of you are wondering why we're going to talk about business ownership, but it's all going to make sense in just a minute. What I'd like you to think about is what the average person has to do to start a traditional business. You see, most people, average people that go into business, they don't have the money to start a business. So they have to borrow their college tuition from their children. They need to take from their retirement, and they're still short. So they go to the bank, they get a small business loan, and they pray that their business is going to be successful. Now, I'm not talking about huge business, obviously, with $1-million investors. I'm talking about your neighbor's salon or restaurant. Let's say, for the sake of this training, that you and I wanted to start a restaurant. I like to use restaurant because everybody's familiar with restaurants. So let's say you and I wanted to start a restaurant, and first thing we got to do is we got to find a place for our restaurant. So we find a building to lease. We need to get insurance. We need to get licenses. We need to turn on the utilities. All of these things cost money. How many customers have we seen so far? 0. So then we get inventory. We need food, plates, tables, silverware, etc. Employees. We have to train those employees. It's more money out. How many customers have we seen so far? 0. This could be a very stressful time for the average business owner. Reality starts to set in that we need this business to be successful. We need a return on our investment right away, because if this business isn't successful, it's going to be absolutely devastating to our families in the long haul. So there's one more hire we need to make. In order to get a return on our investment right away, this restaurant's going to stay open more hours than we could work long term. So we're going to hire a manager, and in a few minutes, I'm going to ask you what type of manager, what type of skills and attributes would you look for in this manager. But before I ask you that particular question, I want you to remember something. This manager is going to have the keys to your largest financial investment. They're going to be opening the doors for your customers. They're going to be handling customer complaints. They're going to be managing your employees. They're going to be handling your cash when you're not there. So by a show of hands, tell me what kind of attributes you're looking for, and I'll call on you one by one.
Integrity.
Integrity. Okay?
Humility.
Humility. It's good.
Honesty.
Honesty. Good.
Presentable.
Presentable. Absolutely.
Good communicator.
Good communication. Okay.
Responsible.
Responsible.
Organized.
Organized.
A good work ethic.
Good work ethic. Very important.
Respectful.
Respectful.
Patience.
Patience. All of these are good so far.
Good listener.
Good listener. Very important.
Leadership.
Leadership.
Punctual.
Punctual.
Empathetic.
Empathetic.
Determined.
Determined.
Inspiring.
Inspiring.
Trustworthy.
Trustworthy.
Honorable.
Honorable. Okay, that's good enough for now. We're going to get the more than enough to get this point across. One thing I want to mention is Success Magazine did a study several years ago. They said every business needs these 3 things in order to be successful long term. Technical skills is something that you might go to school to get a degree on, or something you need to be certified in. For example, a software engineer, or someone that's certified expert in IT security. Product knowledge or service knowledge is somebody who has experience in your particular field. So in this case, we're opening a restaurant, so you're going to need someone, for example, to cook, or someone that knows how to do inventory and Okay. Do inventory so we don't have food going bad or we don't run out of food. And then, of course, everybody brings a certain attitude to the table. Now, your list is a very good list. I want you to remember that this is your list, not my list. But I really like the list that you guys came up with. I'm going to recall the things I'm going to recall the attributes that you called out, and we're going to see where they fit on this triangle. So number 1 was integrity. Do you need to be certified to be a person of integrity? No, of course not. Do you need experience or product knowledge to be a person of integrity? No. Integrity is an attitude, so we'll mark 1 for attitude here. And number 2 was humility. Do you need technical skills to be a person of humility? No. You need product knowledge to be a person of humility? No. That's another attitude. So you see how this works. Number 3 was honesty, which is an attitude. Presentable, which is an attitude. Good communication. Now this can go in one of 2 places, so I'm going to ask you a question to find out which good communicator you want. Candidate number 1 is very intelligent, have more degrees than a thermometer, and if you need a business letter written, they're going to do an outstanding job. But a lot of times when they delegate, they speak over people's head, which leads to confusion. And they're abrasive. They don't really get along with people so well. Do you want that person managing your business, or candidate number 2? English is their second language. If they're going to do a company letter, they're going to need to use spell check. They might need assistance. However, they're one of the most positive, inspiring people that you ever met. They're very patient and they're a good listener. Do you want candidate 1 or candidate 2? If you want candidate 1, raise your hand. If you want candidate 2, raise your hand. So overwhelmingly, candidate number 2. Okay, so candidate number 2 is positive communication, which makes them a better communicator. So that would fall under attitude. Next thing on your list was someone that's responsible. Responsible would go under attitude. Organized. Organized is skill, so we'll put that under technical skills. Work ethic is an attitude. Respectful is an attitude. Patience is an attitude. Being a good listener is an attitude. The next one's a little tricky also. It's leadership. Leadership is a skill, but it's definitely an attitude, so we'll mark 1 for each. Punctual is an attitude. Empathy is an attitude. Determined is an attitude. Inspiring, trustworthy, honorable, they're all attitudes. So of the 20 attributes you listed, 19 of them fall under attitude. So what your list confirms is that Success Magazine's research was accurate. The single greatest attribute that will determine your success is your attitude. And that doesn't matter if you're the owner of the company or the employee. Your attitude is the greatest attribute that will determine your success. What you described is the ideal employee. And I say that because you said if your hard-earned money was on the line, this is the person that you would want to hire. Now, let's say you hired this individual. Can we all agree that you would have an excellent hire? Yes, for sure. Now, let's say this person had all these attributes, but they didn't have the technical skill you were looking for. Can we train this individual to have the technical skills? Absolutely, we could. What if this person lacked product knowledge or experience? Can we teach this person to have the product knowledge we're looking for? Absolutely, we could. But let's flip it around. Let's say they had the technical skills and the product knowledge, but they lacked the attitude. They had the negative attitude, unlike the person that we were looking for. If somebody doesn't bring the right attitude, nobody can help them. However, if you bring the right attitude, nobody can stop them. So it doesn't work when they're lacking attitude. Now, because you guys created this fantastic list of all the attributes that make up the ideal employee, I want you to rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10. You don't have to do it now, but have you just from time to time rate yourself on these attributes on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being outstanding, 1 being needs improvement. Now, you might rate yourself a 10 when it comes to honesty or integrity. Maybe you're only a 7 when it comes to communicating. And 7's good, but good is not good enough when better is an option. Why not be a better communicator if it's going to help you in your career, help you in your personal life, make you more valuable not only to the company but to the whole entire marketplace? Why not improve and be a better communicator next month than you were this month, or next year than you were this year? Now, it's our collective attitude and relationships that create the culture here. Let me say it a different way. I like to use this metaphor that we're like a sailboat sailing through the ocean as we go through our life. And some days are beautiful like this. The water's calm and smooth, and you can relax and enjoy the sunset and all the scenery out there. And we need to embrace these days and not take them for granted. Because as we know, every day is not like this. At times, the storm will come. And the word powerful is way overused, but the ocean, I think we can all agree, is awesome power. And when the tough times come, we can feel a little helpless. These massive waves can toss our sailboat left and right, and we feel like we have no control. And it's scary. Now, we pray that the waves don't send us crashing into the shores of financial setback or bankruptcy, or worse, divorce or illness. The truth is, the same wind blows on us all. It's not the blowing of the wind or the massive waves that determine our destination. It is the set of our sail. And we can learn to set a better sail this year than we did last year. We can set a better sail this quarter than we had last quarter. So, where can you learn to set a better sail? How about learning to improve in those attributes that you called out earlier? I would like to say you could learn these things at home, but some of us have great role models at home and some of us not so much. So at home is very inconsistent. If you go to a good church or play for a good sports organization, you might have some fantastic leaders there that will invest time in you and help develop you in some of these key areas. If you do martial arts, you'll learn some of these attributes. The military is a great place to learn many of these attributes. Just for example, will the military teach you to be honorable, presentable? Will they teach you leadership, respect, be organized? Yes, you could learn a lot of these attributes in the military. You could also read the books, attend the seminars, attend the training events. Pay attention, take notes, study these things so you can improve. And you concentrate on one area of your life where you could drastically improve. It could be your career, it could be your parenting, it could be your marriage, it could be whatever you want it to be. But when you study this particular topic, then you're learning to set a better sail. So next quarter could be better than this quarter. Next year could be better than last quarter. So I'm going to tell you a quick story about a woman I met. And my assistant told me she had a friend that was having a serious problem and it was really stressing her out. She wanted to meet me right away because my assistant told her I could help her out with this problem. No, I didn't know what the problem was. I knew it was work related, but my schedule was such at the time where I didn't have a lot of time. So I said, I have a few minutes right before my leadership event that afternoon, but let her know that I only have a few minutes. If she can make it before the training event, I could spend maybe 10 or 15 minutes with her. Now, she agreed. I never met this woman before, but as she approached me, I knew who she was right away. She had her notebook in her hand, kind of like a football, and she walked, like she was very angry. She had her emotions on her sleeve, and there was no doubt this was the woman that came to meet me. And have you ever noticed that the way you carry yourself matters? The way you present yourself will a lot of times dictate how people respond to you. Imagine this woman walking through your company really angry and just scowling. And I bet you at most companies, people would step out of her way. They wouldn't make eye contact with her. They would let her walk right by and not say a word. Imagine that same woman came by your company and she was smiling and she was greeting people. How are you? How are you? Good morning. Good morning. Her experience would be completely different. The difference is night and day, right? But what happens is a lot of times when people are stressed out or they're thinking about something negative or a problem that they have, they're walking around with a look on their face that says, don't talk to me, don't get in my way. And they lack the self-awareness that they're carrying themselves and presenting this way. But they don't lack the self-awareness that people are avoiding them, looking the other way. And imagine what that can do to someone psychologically. All right, back to the story. Now, as this woman approached me, she was very upset, but I could see she was fighting to hold back tears. And when she came up to me, she said, thank you for meeting me. I'm so glad you took the time to meet me. I got to tell you, my work is terrible. It's just a nightmare for me. I don't like any of the people over there. I don't like my job. Every day is terrible for me. I mean, you talk about negative, this person was it. And now, I'm not a psychologist, but I do talk to and listen to people in psychology. I do listen to counselors and people in the ministry. And we have agreed that just because someone brings you a problem doesn't mean that they necessarily want a solution to that problem. And if you give them a solution, they're no longer going to get the attention that complaining is bringing to them. See, sometimes they just want the attention that goes with complaining. So I was thinking about that as she was complaining to me, and I told her, I think things are going to get worse for you. She said, really? Why? I said, I think you're going to get fired. And she was stunned. She looked at me like I was crazy. She said, fire me, I'm the best employee they have. Now, her body language was saying, I'm the good person, they're the bad people, they should fire them and keep me. But have you ever noticed the people that are the problem never realize it? So I could see reality starting to set in a little bit. She said, what can I do? And I said, do you really want to know? She said, absolutely, I want to know. You know, I came here and drove all the way here to see you because your assistant said that you could help me, but you sure haven't been any help so far. I said, fair enough. I have a plan and it will work, but you have to follow the plan 100% exactly the way I give it to you. And she said, I'll do anything within reason. So I said, okay, that notebook in your hands, open it up. I want you to write down on the top of page 1, things I like about my job. She interrupted me. She said, that'll be easy. I don't like anything about my job. I don't like anything about the people down there. Literally don't like anything about my job. I said, okay, so are you an intern or are they actually paying you? And she said, no, they're paying me. I said, okay, so you don't like to be paid. She said, yes, I do. It's the only reason why I show up every day. I said, okay, well, that could be the first thing on your list. So write down things I like about my job. Number 1, they pay me and I like it. But she just sat there. I said, no, open up the notebook right now. We'll get started on your list. Things I like about my job, they pay me and I like it. But she just sat there. So I said, okay. Let me share my personal experience with you. 100% of the time, no exceptions, people that won't take step number 1 will never take step number 2. So unless you're ready to open up that notebook and write down number 1, it's been very nice meeting you. And she angrily opened her notebook. She wrote so hard I thought she was going to tear the paper. She wrote down things I like about my job and they pay me. So I asked her a few simple questions that most people, would tend to like about their job. And in just a few minutes, we had over a dozen things she liked about her job. Not only was she getting paid, she was getting paid above average. She had her own office. She had great benefits, 3 weeks paid vacation. She had her own parking spot. She was commuting only 10 minutes to work. I mean, over a dozen things she liked about her job in just a few minutes. So I said, okay, here's my advice to you. Number 1 was write a list of things she likes about her job. Okay, we got that done in just a few minutes. The second thing, do your absolute best to stop complaining about anything or anyone. Number 3, reflect on the list that you made for 10 minutes before bed and when you wake up before work. Now, there's a caveat to this. If she gets interrupted during this 10 minutes, she has to start the 10 minutes over again. It has to be uninterrupted time. Now, during her 10-minute commute to work, I wanted to listen to something positive, something from Mindset. So I gave her some podcasts to listen to. And last, I said, try your best to avoid any negative input. Any negative input. So if somebody at work is complaining, gossiping, there's negative stories in the news like there always is, to avoid those things, politely excuse yourself. Say, I need to use the restroom, I need to make a phone call, I got an appointment. Whatever you need to do, avoid any negative input. You see, the reason why she needs to avoid negative input is this is the average person's mind. This is the superachiever's mind. You see the difference is night and day. This person's mind is clear. They don't have things competing for their attention, so they can focus with clarity. They're ready to be productive. The average person's mind, just by walking through life without a filter, I'm a glasses half full type of person, but there's a lot of negativity in our society. A lot of people out there complaining. There's a lot of negative news out there. So the average person has a lot of pollution in their mind. And then when they go home and turn on the news, they're literally pouring in polluted water in their brain, because the news, not only is it almost all negative, but it's sensationalized to make it more negative, to keep your attention longer. The superachiever protects their mindset. They know they need to cut off any type of negative inputs that they're receiving. And they make sure that they pour in something positive, educational, because it serves them in their purpose to achieve their goals. This mindset, this clear mindset, is clear and focused. And I've said the word focus a few times, so I'm going to tell you one quick story about focus, and we're going to end with this. When I was a young man, many years ago, I had a friend that I worked with. He was an ambitious guy, much more ambitious than me at the time. And we worked together. We used to hang out and talk during work and while we were getting our job done. And there was one customer that we had that was really popular. He was a wealthy businessman, and he would come in, very nice guy. Everybody liked him. Everybody knew who he was. And one day my friend got the courage to ask him. He said, so I'm going to call this guy the guru. So he said, he asked the guru, what do you do for a living? I would do anything you say to have your lifestyle. If you just told me what to do, I would do anything. And the guru looked at him and said, you know what? A lot of people tell me that. A lot of people. But when it comes time to actually doing it, getting their hands dirty, doing the work, putting in the hours, they all shy away. And he turned around and walked away. My friend was persistent, though. He didn't take no for an answer. So the next time that gentleman came in, guru, here he comes again, he asked him again, sir, please just tell me what to do. I'll do anything you say. I'm serious. I need your life. So the guru says, you're pretty serious. You seem pretty serious. He says, yes, I am. So he says, okay, meet me tomorrow at the beach at 4 a.m. Before that could register with my friend, he just agreed. He said, absolutely. Beach, 4 a.m. I'm there. And why would he have a meet at the beach at 4 a.m.? I don't know. I don't know what the real answer is, but I think he had a meet at the beach at 4 a.m. because it was inconvenient. And so it took a little discipline to get up at 4 a.m. and meet him at the beach, which was freezing cold at the time. This is not summertime and it's 4 a.m. So it was very cold. Now, he gets there early and he wears his suit. The guru was already there waiting for him. They meet at the beach. The guru says, all right, I'm impressed. You're early and you're dressed to impress. Now you say you want to be successful, right? And he said, yes, sir. He said, success is this way. And he points to the water. And he says, follow me into the water. And my friend was puzzled, but he followed him. He got up to about his ankles. The water was freezing cold. And he's thinking about, why did I wear a beach to the suit? I'm ruining my suit, my shoes, everything. The guru turns around. My friend's standing in shallow water. He says, hey, you said you want to be successful. Success is this way, deeper. And my friend walks in, and he is absolutely freezing cold. His teeth are chattering. He gets into about waist high. And he stops, and he says, hey, what are we doing out here? I said I want to learn to make money. I want your lifestyle. I didn't say I want to go swimming. The guru said, farther, success is this way. Get into your shoulders. And just as my friend was approaching, getting his shoulders in, could barely breathe, it was so cold, the guru jumped on him, shoved his head underwater. And he's holding him. My friend was so surprised, didn't even have a chance to take a breath before he got his head ducked. And my friend is like trying to pull the guru's arms off him, and he couldn't do it. The guy had a good grip on him. He was totally caught off guard. So he starts scratching and clawing at the guru's hands. And the guru wouldn't let go. And he could feel my friend starting to get weak. So he let him up. My friend gets up. He's choking on water. He's coughing. He can't breathe. He's coughing up water. And he finally catches his breath. And when he catches his breath, he has some choice words for the guru. Like saying, are you crazy? I can't say what he said, but he's saying, you crazy? You're a lunatic. You're trying to kill me. What do you think you're doing? And the guru said, I only have one question for you. When you were underwater, what did you want to do? Any guesses? Breathe. Yes. He said, I wanted to breathe. The guru said, are you sure you wanted to breathe? Are you sure? You weren't worried about your date this weekend. You weren't worried about the basketball playoffs or your soap operas or your social media links. And he said, no, I didn't think about any of that stuff. I only wanted to breathe. So the guru said, okay. Now, when I tell you, you need to focus, you know what I'm talking about. And that is going to serve you well moving forward. Now it's cold out here. Here's a towel. Let's go get something to eat. And he bought my friend breakfast. And that was the beginning of their journey together. So think about that focus, because that lady that came to see me, she came back 6 weeks later. I don't know if it's exactly 6 weeks. It was right around 6 weeks. It was an unscheduled visit, but I know it was going to be a good visit because I saw her approaching, and she was smiling so wide she could smile a banana sideways. And she said, how you doing? It's great to see you. And I said, I'm doing great. How are you? She said, I am doing fantastic, and thanks for asking. I got to tell you, you won't believe how much those people down at my work have changed. And I was laughing to myself. But I just said, good for her, good for her. After talking to her a little bit more, I found out she came from a household that was pretty negative. Her husband was pretty negative too. So she was taking a lot of this in. However, she had a bad habit of focusing on the negative. There was plenty of positive things going on in her upbringing and in her marriage that she was taking for granted. So her world changed when she started to monitor her input. So keep that in mind. It can serve you well going forward. I want to thank all of you for attending the training. I hope you wake up every day with a purpose. Today, my purpose was you. And it was to elevate your awareness on how important our attitude is and how it can impact the people around us. What if you were that person that as you went through your day, you planted seeds of positivity? You gave people genuine compliments. Not flattery, flattery is counterproductive, but genuine compliments. You compliment the service of the waitress. You compliment your peers for a job well done. You never know who needs to hear those words. It can prevent a pat on the back, a word of encouragement can prevent someone from quitting school or their business or their marriage or from quitting on life itself. You never know the impact. We have so many critics and not nearly enough positive people spreading words of encouragement. What if you were that person? How would that improve your work relationships? How would that improve things at home or with your kids, their own mental health? So, with that, I am out.